bodies, and it is our responsibility, if we choose to do so, to remove those things.
Right, and there's so many ways to do it.
Yes, we talked a little bit about distilled water last night and the power that it has to cleanse the body. And, that was one of the subjects that I wanted to talk about, was the power of water and imprinting with consciousness. So I'll turn it over back to you.
Well, Lance, why don't you tell people what you found with distilled water?
My gosh.
Tell us what you have found with what distilled water does.
All right. Well, I stumbled across a radio show with Chrissy McMahon, and she had a fellow named Andrew Norton Weber on her show. And my friend Diana Lupi had sent me a link to the radio show. Well, she was so excited that she sent it before she'd heard the whole 2 hours. And I was so excited that I sent it to several people that have been on the show, and I said, you've got to hear this. It is brilliant material, and it has to do with just drinking a gallon of distilled water a day, and it removes the fluoride, which calcifies inside the pineal gland. And when you have an X-ray of your head, it's like a stone, and they call it a stone. Well, there's a stone in the center of your head. It's not supposed to be. It's a juicy, living, organic entity, and unfortunately, it attracts fluoride more so than the rest of the body. And so it's no wonder that we're all dumbed down, because guess what they put in the water? Massive doses of fluoride. There is mercury. There are other inorganic chemicals in the water, and there are even the drugs that they can't filter out. So our tap water is toxic. And, of course, we know the air is toxic, and all of this is interconnected. So the distilled water acts as a blank slate, which is positive, and it sucks out, or magnetically, it pulls the inorganic materials out of the body, and they are removed to the skin and through the urine and through the feces. So within a period of days, weeks, I've experienced an awakening at about 2 weeks. And Andrew says that in 3 months, you will have, there was one kid who knows nothing about spirituality or awakening or, whatever. He just was doing it because his grandmother was doing it, and she got her eyesight back. And so he was drinking a gallon of distilled water a day, and blah-de-de-blah. And he called Andrew and said, Andrew, 3 months of drinking distilled water, what's going on? He said, I close my eyes at night, and these bright blue-white lights come on in my head, and I have this feeling of bliss, and it feels good. I don't know what it is. It's just this blinding light. And it doesn't hurt, it's not painful, and I can come out of it, but it's so pleasant. And Andrew said, well, just keep drinking the water. You'll enjoy the process. So this is who we are, and the Egyptians knew this, and they talk about the 360 senses, which are our natural birthright and gift, and that's what awakens when we start unblocking the glands from all of these deposits, because the body in its wisdom places them in an area where it will do no harm.
That's right.
Yeah, so...
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, and it can always be remembered. We can always wake ourselves up. Now, distilled water is clear and pure. Yes. So my suggestion is if people feel that is something you've been taught not to drink, my suggestion is go a little at a time until you feel comfortable with it. Because, and especially if you've got something the matter in your system and you want to go for it, go for it. And I'll tell you why. This is very important. As a healer, I got to tell you, working with my Cherokee mentor, we did a lot of work, okay? We did lots of stuff for the earth. We did lots of stuff for each other and for many, many thousands of people together in 12 years. Okay, so one of the things that we did was we took distilled water, and we put it in one of those brown 2-ounce bottles you can use for a tincture. You can get these at any health food store, okay? My suggestion is go ahead and fill your tincture bottle with distilled water. If you don't feel comfortable drinking it, at least you can use it as a brand new tincture for something that you want to use biofeedback for in your system, and you can use it for any kind of energy that you want. Okay, I've done this. I've seen it a million times, where actually you take your right hand, like I said, as a giver, and you can put your hand over that brown bottle, and all you have to do is use your brain. Your brain is coming into much more telepathic knowledge and understanding and intuition. It's aligning to these changes. So my suggestion is go ahead and take this brown bottle with your distilled water, hold it in your right hand, and blow your intent. Blow your intent into the water, just like you would the crystal. You could blow your intent in there, and you let that thing sit for about a half hour. Give it time to feed the energy within the water. Because it's so pure, it holds nothing back. It's vulnerable. It's volatile. Okay?
Yes.
So then what you do is you take your dropper after a half hour, and you can actually drop the drops under your tongue of distilled water, which is now energized to what you have allowed to change.
Wow. Fantastic. That is absolutely monumental, earth-changing, paradigm-shifting information. Do you realize how empowering that is?
Yes.
You can buy a gallon of distilled water at Walmart for 83 cents.
You got it.
Who can't afford that?
You got it. My whole purpose on this planet right now is not only to teach people to heal and to teach them that our medical system is corrupt in its own way, in its own style, and I'm not talking about anything negative about doctors. I am talking about the system, and I want people to understand that. The system itself is not working. People have known over the years that people die, and they die because there's no energy involved. It's all facts-based, but it's not about your emotional or your mental body or your spiritual body. It has nothing to do with the rest of you. They're looking at the physical part of you, which they don't understand the language of the body. Now, I am one advocate for the body, okay? I'm really, really heavy on that because the body has a right to be heard.
Yes.
And the body hasn't been heard long enough because we keep going back to somebody that doesn't know what's wrong with us.
Yep.
I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. We just need to learn how to take care of ourselves. We need to understand that we are responsible for our health. Mm-hmm. And we can bring it back with the help and the encouragement of energy.
Yes.
All we have to know is how.
Yep.
The body has a language, and our liver, we know this from Louise Hay, we know this from other wonderful people out there who have given us dynamic influence on our physical bodies and what happens to them. You know, it's really interesting because we also, when we develop a diagnosis, we go to a doctor and we get a diagnosis, I want you to know that a diagnosis is actually a category. You're put in a category. If you recognize it's no different than getting an A, B, C, or D, or an F from school. Yep. You're in a frickin' category, okay? This is not what our new fifth-dimensional living is going to be like. Yes. We can't stop ourselves from a category. That's there's just too many people out there, beautiful. Even autistic children are teaching us MS, multiple sclerosis. We're learning from a lot of the, quote, diagnoses out there. I would like to say they are conditions.
Yes.
I would like to use the term condition because the condition in the body is actually sometimes to our favor because of what we can learn from it and what we can teach from it. Mm-hmm. And so because we're in that position, we can actually learn and move forward with these things. We can help each other. And we don't need a lot of this other stuff. We can actually do it ourselves. But we just have to know how. So my feeling is, Lance, we're heading into that direction.
Yes. Yep.
And I have a book coming out that's called The Sacred Language of the Human Body. It will be out within the next couple months. And I've been waiting to write it because when John J. Harper passed away, I had gotten his information from his wife who gave me all of his new, he had 50 pages of a new book written. And it was called The Galactic Brain Shift. And John wanted to put out there what the magnetics of the universe are doing and where they might take us, but what the brain is doing. And so between John's information and my information, it's all coming back right down to the same equation, if you will. We're learning how to understand what our bodies are going through. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the heart is number one. The heart is your employer. Your brain is the employee.
Yes, thank you very much.
However, remember that the brain is also just as significant as the heart, because as we all know, a secretary runs the show for the corporation. And so we know that this is important times, and that if we understand that the brain has its function and we use it well, along with knowing that our hearts come first, then we can decide how we want to move forward. And we can do it. We don't have to worry. And, you know, the thing that's going on right now is the chaos right now. A lot of people are talking about chaos. I've had people calling me saying, I'm breaking down. I'm breaking down. I don't know what to do. My thought and my response to that is that, you know, you're breaking through. So what you want to do is allow this to happen. But here's the big thing I'm going to tell you, is when you start feeling like you're breaking down, you need to relax. I don't care how you do it. If you take a hot bath, if you take rescue remedy, we've got to learn how to relax and trust the process. If we trust the process and we allow ourselves to kind of detach from the feeling of scared, we're feeling scared, okay? When you can literally allow yourself to relax by taking either a hot bath or go take a walk, take a beautiful walk and look at outside. You know, these are the things you do. You stop focusing on that and you start allowing the new beginnings to take place. And if you, in the back of your mind, if you tell yourself that this is happening because I'm changing, I'm allowing myself to change and there's nothing to fear. It's like standing at a cliff, you know, and what you're going to do is you're going to spread your wings and you're going to fly. And then your observation of the world is going to see a lot differently than what you did when you were standing in that little spot.
Yes, absolutely. You're right on, totally right on.
One thing Mahala said, and I do want to share this with people, Mahala had a wonderful looking at the chart for our world and what we're going through. And on the date, 11/11/11, we are having the Venus and Mercury exactly in conjunction. Okay, so and it's in Sag. So what that means is that, and besides going into all of the logistics of that, the fact is that we are becoming the eagle. The spiritualism or spirituality is the eagle. And a lot of the Sabian symbols and stuff is about the eagle coming in on 11/11/11. We are now being ascended into a higher consciousness. Therefore, on 11/11/11, please note that this is the rising of a new day.
Wow. Was that in any way part of the metaphor of the phoenix rising from the ashes?
Absolutely. Okay. The phoenix rising, the shedding of the skin of the snake.
Wow.
All of the above, you betcha.
Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, which means we're self-sufficient. We have everything we need within us.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And you were going to ask me about spiritual.
Yes, that's right.
The spiritual human being. Mostly, I know we still have some time. I just want to suggest to people to understand that we are one body with the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, as well as the physical. We call that the as above, so below, with the so below being our physical body. The physical body is going to manifest your thoughts, your emotions. We know this, but it's true. And what's happening is that because we're in the time of this transformation, and we're changing, and our humanity is changing, we're changing individually. As this is happening, we are given the gift of awareness. And we're becoming more aware of ourselves, the way we're living, and the way we're thinking about who we want to be around. Our relationships are changing. All of the dynamics around us. Death is no longer as upsetting as it used to be. We used to think just so completely opposite. Death is a part of life, and we're learning more and more that the veil is no more, that we're actually beginning to feel more about the people around us. And when we feel peace within us, then we know that we have the help and the support of our guides and our loved ones. We're not separate from them. We never have been. It's an illusion. And in my book, I have a chapter called Illusion to Illumination. And a lot of this is in it because we have to learn again how to be connected to each other. And so the spirituality part of our humanness is basically around awareness. and we're becoming more conscious of our subconscious.
Right. It's actually becoming conscious, right?
Right. So it's turning ourselves inside out that's actually doing the job.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you also talked a little bit, we briefly touched upon the idea that we're the crystalline aspect of ourselves, which Cryon talked about for decades, is manifesting throughout our bodies, through the DNA, through the planetary body, and that we're actually moving into a more crystalline, alive